I'm going to share a story. My doctor had just barely come out of med school. She had already, had certain places. She was brought in by one of the hospitals to bring in, and I had a conversation with her. And I said, she was very frustrated one day. Not a good thing to have a frustrated doctor looking at you. So I said, what's the issue? She says, for all the classes I went to med school, the one thing that I didn't get and I should have received, or I should go out and get, is how to manage a business. Because now I'm running a medical facility, if you will, with personnel and blah blah blah. She says, I don't have a clue. I was brought up as a doctor. And a lot of times we still are thinking as shop student graduates as merely workers at the bottom totem pole. But if these shop teach students come out with an understanding of how they can take their skills and turn it into a business, now we're to what Kurt is highlighting, the owners of Amazon, the owners of Microsoft. These people are very hands-on people, not credentialed people. They're hands-on people. And I think adding the two components that, yeah, I'm taking the shop class because I want to have my own business in plumbing, or I want to have a Reyes engineering as part of a company. I think it sort of would break down some of the stigma of people and saying, we're in a whole different ballgame here. I don't
And
know.
it's interesting that you hit it. I forgot to bring it up also because that was part of the curriculum that the tech has always had, a business part of it, so that you understand that business. And if you take a look again, what this country has been built on, it hasn't been built on major corporations. It's actually been built on the small companies that develop into those major corporations. So that's a very integral part that we have to look at, and has worked for the tech very well. So it has to be incorporated into other areas also.
Here's
So
the thing that I think we have to accommodate, and that is that, okay, I'm talking right now about the state of California. That's not everyone's situation. But the curriculum gets set by the university level and it rolls down to the high school, because then it becomes university prep. And what's happening now is the expansion of curriculum to add in so many other classes eliminates the ability for kids to take electives.
Yep.
What that's doing now is forcing people outside of the public system, or within the high school, creating a small enclave that has different rules. Maybe that's the way forward. That's going to be highly vilified. That's not going to be a fun argument to convince people they should cut part of the university prep program so you can put maybe 3 credits, 6 credits, 12 credits into electives. Okay, I don't know as much about that as some of you all, but this is a thing that's really, really difficult to get over, and so we need to start working on that angle too. I don't know, Manuel, how do you solve that problem at your level?
It's very good, because that's a problem that we've come across when we try to make sure that the kids that we have move into the college area with the correct amount of credits.
Right.
Credits keep on changing. The challenges keeps on changing, that you have to give them more time under college prep courses than the technology courses we used to give them. So when it used to be half-day academics, half-day technology or trade, now it's, 2/3 of one and 1/3 of the other. And unfortunately, the trade component, the hands-on component, is the one that suffers.
Question. Uh, I'm pulling rabbits out of hats here. Help me out here. I'm going to use the name Georgia Tech. Okay, University Georgia Tech. I want to go to Georgia Tech. Okay, now by the name, Virginia Tech, Georgia Tech, all these places, I'm assuming they're polytechnical universities, first of all. So that's an assumption. If I'm wrong, please correct me. Second of all, if I'm applying to a technical university, are they really heavy into how many philosophy classes I had in high school, or how many English classes that I have in high school? Are they more interested? Would they favor me admission if I had more trade classes?
from my experience, and you guys can chime in, is there's a certain base of classes that you have to have
Sure.
that are in the academic side, the philosophy side, et cetera, et cetera. If you don't complete those, you can't move into the next level. And if
So
you move into it, you still have to come back and complete it. I mean, I went to Art Center, okay? Art Center, I still had to finish certain English criteria that they demanded, because that was part of the curriculum that you needed to complete. And that still continues, probably even stronger now. And then you get into, you know, there's a lot of different philosophies in that area that are still in discussion.
Plus, you run into the problem if Johnny wants to go to Georgia Tech and fails algebra, he's got to retake algebra.
Yeah, he's
which
out.
means that's one less thing off this other list that he can't do, because he's got to retake algebra.
Yep.
Now, if little Johnny doesn't do well in English, now he's got to retake English, which means now he's further behind.
Can I call that something? It's not meant to be bad. That's one of those hey boomer ideas. It's like, okay, the boomers own the system now, and they've turned the system in a direction. Okay, it started in the late 60s and moved through the 70s. Okay, you know, globalization, whatever. But to get into the high technical schools now, they're not looking so much at GPAs anymore. They're looking at stories that kids can tell about themselves and what they've overcome and what they can do, like what they can make. Okay, that's why these robot teams like FIRST and FRC and FTC have gotten so popular. Even at the middle school level, it's like FIRST Lego League. It's outside the system. We don't have time for it during the day. So these are clubs. And when a kid can put that on their, you know, college app, they get sucked into the front of the line over other kids who may have a higher GPA. So anyway, that's another avenue to approach, is a little bit outside the system.
Yeah. And then I would say that Silicon Valley has a lot to do with the fact that they're looking for, you know, not just those academic geniuses, but those that have abilities other than that.
Say again what it was.
Silicon Valley. I mean, if you
Silicon. Okay. I didn't hear that part. Right. Yeah, I agree.
Well,
Wow.
I've had kids come to my class who had that, and I always mispronounce this, entrepreneurial.
Yes, I have to say.
Sorry, that word never comes out right.
Me too.
You don't speak French.
I have a hard time with English. Who, you know, who wanted to do their own thing, and they did well in my class because they could develop that skill. And I used to get in more trouble because I was encouraging that skill set, you know. And yet when they got out of high school, they went off and did their thing and became fairly successful. They're not making 6-7 figures, but they're well-established, productive people, you know.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite stories is the Israeli military. The Israeli military is very heavy into your skills, very heavy into what you can do. They still want that college degree, but everybody, who builds a better attack helicopter? The guys who fly, build, design, create, and man that attack helicopter, or college graduates who do it on paper?
Yeah.
So they're looking for people who not only will build that helicopter, they'll fly it and maintain it. Now, if those same people want to go back and expand their world, they encourage them to go to college, but to get their degree in business or something unrelated, because it rounds them out and it makes them better war fighters. I mean, probably not a most popular word, but which is why one of the Israeli military is so high up there in their success rate, because they encourage that whole line of thinking.
The full person.
Yeah.
We're getting close to the end of the program. Believe it or not, we're almost done an hour. But I'll say one thing it's been very candidly put in front of me given all your discussions, and I've learned a tremendous amount. I can't thank all three of you enough. Is the idea, I don't know where we got into a world of A or B, the word or. You know, you either go for a 4-year degree or you go to a non-4-year degree, i.e., it could be a shop class or whatever. What happened that, first of all, separated it, and what has to happen to bring it back together again, that I can have a PhD at MIT and yet I'm there because I'm able to put things together, not just because I'm able to memorize everything in my head or find it on Google. Sorry, Google. Anyway, those are thoughts that have come to me. I'm not posing this as the answer, but I think Joe says, well, where do we go from here? And I think, you know, erase the word or and put the word and marry the two back together again, and says, you know, they both work hand in hand with each other. Anyway, that's my 2 cents, but let me start by giving each of you 2 minutes for our closing statements before we close. And thank you for very stimulating thinking. Manuel, you're on the shot. You're on first.
Thank you very, very much. Well, one of the things that, you know, I know that I continue to work in that area of being able to work with those that have the ability to make the change at the different levels. It's a challenge, but this discussion that we've had just reinforced a lot of the things that I've had in mind. So that's going to help me to continue to work in that direction. But we all have to do it together, because it's going to have to be something that all teachers from every side have to be focused into the same direction. And eventually, those at the top are going to be able to accept and make the change. And, you know, we'll continue working in that direction, but the focus is, I think we all agree, it's time of change. And this current pandemic is giving us a lot of time to really think and start to focus. So we have a great opportunity right now to accomplish these things. And I look forward to at least doing my little part in this whole thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Joe, want to go second?
I think you're right about, it's not A or B. It's got to be a combination. It's got to meet young people where they are, because they're not going to fit our molds. You know, our molds don't work for them because they're different. Okay. I wrote a book about this kind of thing. I'll put it up there. You can screenshot this. It talks more about the same kinds of things we're talking about here. It's very complex and there's no one solution, but just for those of you in the teaching profession, keep at it. Don't give up. Hang in there with this, you know, practice your elevator speech and then preach it.
Exactly.
Mr. Hahn.
I agree with Joe, and that's part of my mission now, is to supply encouragement to shop teachers, and I use that term shopkeepers very, very, very liberally, is to do your best, give it your best shot, learn and do. I follow Joe's projects religiously on Facebook because he does some amazing stuff. But to encourage people to expand their horizons to better help their students. And I'm encouraged because I see a lot of these shop teachers on my pages who are in their 20s and 30s now, as opposed to us gray-haired old dinosaurs who retired, you know. Oh, and by the way, I have to make a confession. Somebody mentioned writing things down. I was chuckling because I have probably the world's worst handwriting. And, you know, I write this stuff down in my notebook and people look at it like I'm lost. But, you know, there is something about taking it from here and putting it on paper, you know. So
I'm going to take, let me add 30 seconds to each of you, because I'd like to sort of share the wealth here. We've shared a lot of terms back and forth. We threw a lot of things out there. And there is one term I want to leave the audience with, and I thank the source, Joe Petito. There is honor in manual work. I like that phrase a lot. I'm going to keep my hands around it. manual work is very honorable. And I want to thank Joe for that. So
I got to tell you, I did not originate that. That came from Michael Crawford, Shop Class as Soulcraft. So it's a total ripoff. Go find that book. It's very small. No, philosopher, motorcycle mechanic. He coined the term.
Got it. But I like the term, and it was shared, and by you sharing it, it's now part of all of us as well. And I'd like to share that. Emmanuel, you have your favorite phrase from today?
No, I have to agree with that phrase. Exactly. Yep. Very much.
All right. Kurt?
No, I agree also, because if you don't have a respect for work in general, regardless of what you do, then it's not any fun. It's just major headache to work. I've read Joe's book. It's a very interesting book. As a matter of fact, Joe runs a Facebook page of his own about books that shop teachers reads. And I have a book about truck rebuilding. I'll mail it to you as soon as I get it back.
You know, and let me just add one thing. And, you know, when you go through, and the reason why we work, it really isn't to get a paycheck. It's to that satisfaction accomplishing things. And that's why we work. So that manual ability to accomplish a project, an activity, that's the main reason. Getting paid is the extra stuff that we do.
I'm not surprised that it's Manuel who sets up the next show already. He's already pushing to the next level. Manuel. Why do you do this to us, man? We can't even finish the first one. We're already into the second one. I think you're absolutely right. Again, I want to thank our guest today, Kurt Hahn. Kurt Hahn, you have a website. What is the website again, please?
Well, it's not so much a website. It's on Facebook. It's called Shop Teachers. And it's, I like to think it was a virtual teacher's lounge for shop teachers. Again, very liberally used.
Excellent.
Where they can share ideas, thoughts, and a virtual cup of coffee.
A virtual cup of coffee. I love that. Joe, I know you have also the site that Kurt Hahn. What was that one?
Shop teachers reading books. What's current? What are y'all reading? You know, everybody's got a good idea. So let's hear about it. Share it.
Excellent. And Manuel, you want to pitch something?
You know, I work with you. Whatever you'd say, you know, we'll that, okay?
You can always pitch us, and we continue to do this.
Exactly.
And this is part of the Shop Teachers group, and this is also goes worldwide. We invite everyone to share their thoughts with us, and we invite shop teachers, technology people to share their views on this. And I think if we come together, I think we can make a force that we can work with. And it's an international thing. I want to hear people from India, from Africa, from different places, and hear about the projects as well. Please, we're here to listen to you. I'm Armando F. Sanchez. Please feel free to contact me. We want to contact our guests. Write to me directly at afsanchez66@gmail.com, and we'll pass it on also to him. Guys, thank you for being on the show. I look forward to being together the next time around. Okay, be safe.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Take care.